Good morning. My name is Kim Chipman, and this is my soap note for March 27th. My verse was Deuteronomy 4:9. Only take care and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things that your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. My observation, I kind of looked around the Bible for other verses today. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Deuteronomy 6 through 7 or 8, I can't remember. These words I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. And then Deuteronomy 11:18 and 19. You shall therefore lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul, and you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, talking of them when you are sitting in your house, and when you are walking by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. And then Psalm 78:5-7. He established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach their children, that the next generation might know them, the children yet unborn, and arise and tell them to their children, so that they should set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. I know that's a whole bunch of Bible. That's more than one verse, but that's where my time this morning took me. There are two things that really stand out to me from the verse I actually picked today, which I will remind you. Only take care and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things that your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. So the two things that really stood out to me from that verse today was, number one, the importance of tending, taking care of, guarding, keeping my soul, my heart diligently. And number two, the importance of remembering and passing along to the generations to come all that I have seen and learned and experienced. Everything that you've shown me, I need to pass along. Last week we had a woman that came and shared her testimony with my Bible study group. She was raised an Orthodox Jew and converted to Christianity in her young adult life. I think it was kind of in her 20s. And she's an older lady, so that was still quite a long time ago, just post World War II. So to hear her story, it was absolutely fascinating. It was a totally different time than what we're living in now, and living as an Orthodox Jew isn't something that I have a lot of exposure or experience with. People who are raised that way or live that way. So I really enjoyed hearing her story. And her story of conversion was really one of reading the Bible. She had a friend who was Christian and encouraged her to read it, and over a period of a few weeks she read the Bible for herself and was convinced. and converted to Christianity from Judaism. And it was just interesting to hear how the politics of that time, how her family took it, because there was a sense that Jesus was still the enemy. He, much like the politics in the time when Jesus walked the earth, he was not seen as the Messiah that they had been waiting for. And so, I don't know, I was just absolutely fascinated to hear her story. And it made me remember how very important it is to tell our story to the people around us, but then also to tell our story to the next generations. Her generation was raised in a very different political climate than what we have now. And hearing that story and trying to imagine what it would be like then, it was awesome. And we have ways now to record those stories in a way that can be very compelling. It's, we have video with sound, and we can share these things more easily and more readily than generations before us who had to write them down. So it was so inspiring to me. It really encouraged my faith to hear her conversion story, and then it also just reminded me how important it is to tell our stories. And then also in my application portion, I just wrote that you have charged us all with tending our heart and telling our story. There are times that I fail at both of these things, but it's important for me to not give up trying because it's something that you value, so I need to value it also. And my prayer today was, Lord, help me to tend my heart and to tell my story well. I realized that by telling my story, it helps me to remember and keep your good works at the front of my mind. I love you. Have an awesome day.